My guest today is a professional model. She's the lead singer and songwriter of the Canadian band Living Dead Girl. Please welcome the amazing Molly Rennick. Hey Molly, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thank you. First, I want to know how metal music came into your life and who influenced you to become a singer.
I grew up around rock and roll. My dad's a huge rock and roll fan, especially with like Van Halen, Pink Floyd, all those classic great artists. So I always just grew up around it. It's what I always listened to. But I found as I started getting older, like around age 9 or 10, I started kind of drifting off listening to more gothic, heavier things like Marilyn Manson and that kind of stuff. So I always knew I wanted to be a musician, but I got into the really heavy stuff when I was like 9 or 10 years old. Biggest influence definitely been Marilyn Manson.
Can you explain to me how you can love Marilyn Manson and Avril Lavigne to the top of your model?
I can't choose between the two. I love them both. I love them both equally. I think if I had to choose, I'd probably choose Avril because she was my first love. But so she inspired me to start singing in the first place, and he inspired me to get heavier, more gothic with it. So they both get like full credit for the role model title in my life.
So when Marilyn Manson and Avril Lavigne done before a song, I think for you it will be a dream or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the bucket list.
Your voice is so beautiful and powerful. I fell very in love with it. I have to say this. Did you take lessons with a teacher or?
I did for years. I've had a couple different vocal coaches, and I was also in a choir when I was younger. But I found what really seemed to make the biggest difference for me was I did online training. It's this program called Singing Success. So I found if I just practiced alone at home, following along with those, that's when I started to really see the dramatic improvement.
Okay, cool. What is the story of Living Dead Girl?
So I formed the band in, I want to say, 2014, 2015. There's been several different changeovers of band members, but it's always been myself, and our bassist Jordan has actually been around since 2016 or 2017. I think it was 2016. So he and I are basically like the two original members. We met on Facebook, and he was just messaging me like, hey, like I play bass, like if you ever need a bassist. And I was like, I actually do need a bassist, because I kept putting it out there. I was like, I'm trying to start a band, but I didn't have one yet. So he and I basically just like went from there. It was just a singer and a bassist for a really long time, trying to find guitarists and drummers. And once we finally got like a full band and we found a producer and everything, we finally started making music in like 2018. So it actually took a few years of us just jamming in my basement before we actually started making music. But it's been a journey for sure.
All right. I know songwriting is very important for you. Tell me, what do you like to talk about in your lyrics? Do you like to write a story about you or something relating from you, or just maybe a nightmare, a dream, or something like that? Or what is best for you?
I definitely like talking about personal experiences in my music. I find the more personal it is for me, the more passion I put into it. So the songs that really strike a nerve with me, like the ones that are really, really deep and really personal, are always my favorite ones, and the ones that like you can hear it in the vocal performance, like you can hear I'm really into it. So there's like I'd say probably of our upcoming album, there's one song that's a bit slower than the others, and that one definitely sticks out to me because the lyrics are like the most heavy, deep. I don't want to say depressing or sad, but they're definitely the most personal, and you can just like tell in the performance that one is the one that really, really sticks out for me.
You released 2 songs at this time, Alive and Exorcism, the name of the incoming album. Do you think we heard the best of this album?
Exorcism is probably my favorite song on the whole album, although it's hard to choose. It's kind of like your favorite song is like picking one of your favorite kids. Like that's just like wrong and hard to do. I don't think anyone's heard the best of it yet. I feel like that slower song I just mentioned is probably like the hidden gem of the album. Like it's not a single, and it's not the heaviest or the fastest song, but vocally and everything, I think it's my best performance personally. I also really love the third single we're actually going to be releasing shortly is probably one of my favorites on the entire album too.
Do you think it could be it? And what is the name of the song?
It is called Escape.
Okay, what are you talking about?
So that song is basically about not feeling like you belong where you are, whether it's physically in a place or just wherever, what point you're at in life. It's about feeling like you don't belong and you need to get away from it. So that's another song that's really personal to me.
When it will be released?
It is coming out end of February.
All right. Next question. You met Marilyn Manson 2 times. Do you think it's possible for you to do something with him maybe in a few years?
I definitely think so, and I really hope so, at least. I know I've seen him live so many times, and I've noticed a trend. I see he's had a lot of female-fronted bands opening for him in the past, and especially I've seen a lot of smaller bands open for him. Like, I've been to so many Marilyn Manson concerts where I've never heard of the opening band before, and then I end up looking them up afterwards. So I've definitely noticed a trend that he seems to actually be one of those cool artists that lets like new unheard of bands open for him. He doesn't just pick the huge already established bands. He like lets the new guys have a chance. So I definitely think there is a possibility of us ever touring with him. Like, I definitely see that on the table.
I wish for you. What is your feeling when you are on stage? Do you liberate something or of you, or are you carried by the crowd only? How it is?
The crowd makes the biggest difference, honestly. Like, I always have fun performing. I love doing it regardless, but definitely when you see people moshing or singing along or jumping around, it's so much more energetic than, like, if you look out in the audience and you see someone, like, looking at their phone or something, like, you can't let those kind of things discourage you, but definitely, like, in the back of your mind, it makes you think, like, hey, what the hell? Why aren't you paying attention or something? So when the crowd is, like, going crazy, it gives you, like, an adrenaline rush. Like, you almost feel like you're, like, on cloud 9. Like, it feels like you're getting, like, a high off everyone else's energy.
Now is the time for the flowers. You are a professional model. You are sexy. You look badass. You're attractive.
Thank you.
So, no, you are. So the question is, do you think you have to prove yourself more than someone else because of your good looking?
Oh, absolutely. I was literally just thinking about this earlier today. I've noticed, I'm not trying to like be stereotypical or anything, but I think generally it's easier for females to support my band than it is for males. Like, whenever we do get the occasional rude comment, it's normally like a man saying like, "Oh, she can't sing. She just dances around half naked. Like, she's just trying to be hot, but the music's really bad and stuff." Whereas like the people who are really supportive, I notice, are like fellow girls. So I definitely feel like you have to prove yourself even harder, because when you are using sex appeal, like, it has its advantages, but it also has disadvantages as well. Like, especially like there's such a fine line. You try not to overdo it. You want people to take the music seriously, but at the same time, like, it's such a strong tool to use when you can. So I just feel like a lot of times it's easy for people to look at you and be like, "Oh, she's probably dressed like that because her singing isn't good," or "She's probably trying to make up for how bad her music is," or something. So I feel like there's just such a fine line. Like, people will judge regardless. You might as well do whatever you want, but there definitely are disadvantages of using sex appeal.
I know Valentine's Day, it's one of your favorite day in the year. So next question is, I don't know if you want to break art or not. So how do you feel with Valentine's Day, and do you have a boyfriend or not?
I do. I have a boyfriend, John, who actually...
Oh!
Yeah, he's our lead guitarist.
You break a lot of heart now.
Yeah, so, sorry, everyone.
But how do you feel this Valentine's Day? I say this because I go on your website and check all the things on shop, and wow, you have a lot of things for the Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, I love all holidays. I love celebrating anything, even if it's like the smallest holiday ever. Like, I get really festive with everything. So I thought, since we just released Exorcism, which is the closest thing to a love song I think I'll ever write, that song has such a sexy vibe to it that I felt like I could use those lyrics for Valentine's Day merch. So, like, if you've already checked out the website, you've seen it. We've got mugs, condoms, candy, like everything I could think of that worked with the Exorcism lyrics I made.
Just to close, what's next for you and the band Living Dead Girl?
We are dropping our very first full-length record, Exorcism, this summer. At the moment, we can't say anything about touring because, just like the rest of the world, we don't know what's going on with that. But there definitely will be live streams or virtual shows around the time that we release the album. And I'm also going to be expanding our merchandise line, making it into more of a clothing line, since that's something I can do in the meantime while we can't play shows. So we're just going to keep pressing forward as much as we can without, like breaking any restriction rules.
I think your first album, Exorcism, will be released in June of this year. Will drag everybody down, and it could be a very, very exciting album. So thanks, Molly, for your time, and hope and enjoy music for all the year.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.